Hello, fans and friends. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Astro Kara. This week's Astro Focus is the upcoming Mercury Retrograde that's happening in the tropical sign of Pisces. Starting on February 25th or 26th, depending on where you are in the world, and then it will station direct on March 20th, conjunct the North Node. So I will certainly be discussing that when the time comes. And I want to start here with something important. In evolutionary astrology, we never interpret anything in isolation. However, when we're first learning this paradigm, we do separate the archetypes in order to build a solid foundation. So in this case, we'd study Mercury, we'd study Pisces, we'd study retrogrades, and of course, we always study Pluto. And once the foundation has been built, we can begin to layer, to synthesize for our interpretations. So this Mercury retrograde isn't just Mercury retrograde. It's Mercury retrograde in Pisces, reflecting Pluto in Aquarius. Because Pluto is always the evolutionary backdrop and intention. Before I dive into discussing this upcoming Mercury retrograde, I'd like to share some lived experiences, because I believe that lived experiences teach astrology better than textbooks can sometimes. Several people in my inner circle have natal Mercury in Pisces. One of them, my mom, has natal Mercury retrograde in Pisces, conjunct her Pisces sun. She's having a solar return this week, so happy birthday, Mom. Thanks for always listening to my videos and leaving me supportive comments. And she did give me permission to use this part of her chart as a teaching tool. So from an EA perspective, Mercury describes how the soul is processing information, how we interpret reality, how we analyze and process the incoming data, and how we use language to communicate. When Mercury is retrograde natally, there is an accelerated evolutionary impulse around perception and cognition. And this isn't a flaw, it's not a glitch, it's intentional. And these souls are filtering information differently. They are designed to tune out any excess noise and only internalize what is relevant for their evolutionary growth. And when I talk about the noise, I'm referring to collective chatter, conditioned narratives, unprocessed emotions, and external expectations that crowd our mental space and distort what we're really meant to perceive. Natal Mercury retrograde often manifests in one of two ways. Sometimes it's a mixture of both. There's often struggles within traditional institutional learning. And it's related to an accelerated nonlinear intelligence that just doesn't fit the system. Either way, there is repetition. Lessons that repeat until perception evolves. Now apply that to a collective Mercury retrograde transit. It's always an opportunity to reprocess how we think. And in Pisces, we're reprocessing the very structures of perception, dissolving outdated mental narratives at the root. The replayed stories and automatic negative thought patterns that have outlived their usefulness. So when I think about Mercury and Pisces, I think about a nonlinear mind. Because Pisces is not linear. It's not step 1, step 2, step 3. Pisces represents the all that is, the greater collective consciousness. And it's symbolic, archetypal, and diffuse. Mercury in Pisces thinks in imagery, emotion, patterns, and frequency. These are our dreamers, our mystics, poets, and abstract thinkers. The ones whose heads may appear in the clouds, but who are actually plugged into something much greater. And the challenge comes because this modern world rewards linear cognition. I have natal Mercury in Gemini, one of the signs that Mercury is associated with. And I have always been curious and analytical. I ask why about everything. My husband has natal Mercury in Pisces. Gemini and Pisces square each other in the natural zodiac. And whenever there is a square aspect, there is tension. So when I want clarity and detail, he wants to paint a bigger picture. So we've really had to learn each other's language. And this is where the observer phase of my Thrivuary method was essential. Instead of reacting to each other and saying, "You're just not being clear," or instead of me trying to control him, just answer my question. We observe, oh, we really do process reality differently. And this lens is powerful beyond partnership. If you start looking at your relationships this way, especially partner dynamics or parent-child interactions, communication can soften almost immediately. Because instead of asking, "Why aren't you communicating the right way?" you begin asking, "What language are you actually speaking?" Think about a linear child with an abstract parent. This was me. And I can reflect on times when I certainly overwhelmed my mom with all of my questions, and times when I felt so frustrated that I didn't get an answer that was clear to my mind. Think of an abstract partner with a detail-oriented one. This is my husband and I, as I've described. And so much of what we label as incompatibility can actually be related to cognitive wiring. And when we shift from correcting to understanding, the nervous system relaxes. Defensiveness lowers, and curiosity returns. And that awareness doesn't just change conversations. It changes the emotional climate of the relationship. And that's when real connection becomes possible. Now let's zoom out. This Mercury retrograde is occurring while Pluto is in Aquarius. From an evolutionary astrology lens, Pluto describes the soul's evolutionary intent. And in this case, we're looking at the collective evolutionary intent. Aquarius represents collective innovation, paradigm shifts, deconditioning from consensus reality, and moving toward individuation. So, what's evolving? How we think, who we listen to, what we believe, and how much external noise we allow into our nervous systems. Pluto in Aquarius is dismantling collective groupthink and all the prior social contracts we unconsciously agreed to in order to fit in. This Mercury retrograde in Pisces is dissolving personal thought forms. Are you seeing the layering? So this isn't just about miscommunications and tech glitches, which do often occur during Mercury retrogrades. We see that Pisces can spiritualize confusion, and Aquarius can intellectualize detachment. And this retrograde is asking us to slow down enough to differentiate. So how might we work with this? Let me offer it through the lens of my Thrivuary Method. If you're in the observer phase, notice where your thoughts are feeling foggy. Notice where you've become overwhelmed by information. And notice what thoughts keep repeating, especially relationally. Where might you and someone else be speaking different cognitive languages? If you're in the architect phase, this is where we restructure your inputs. Pluto in Aquarius is encouraging you to curate your media, curate your influences, and curate your intellectual ecosystems. And Mercury retrograde in Pisces is offering a time to rest your mind. Maybe begin to journal or record your voice. Work to process some things through imagery and feeling instead of forcing logic. And if you're in the Alchemist phase, instead of reacting to misunderstanding, transmute it. Instead of controlling the narrative, release it. And instead of trying to force clarity, simply allow insight to emerge. Because Pisces clarity doesn't come through pressure. It comes through surrender. Growing up, I asked a million questions. Why? And my mom thought abstractly, symbolically. Where I wanted data, she gave essence. And as a child, that felt extremely frustrating. But as an adult, I see the gift. Different cognitions aren't dysfunctional. It's by design. And this Mercury retrograde may show you where you've misunderstood someone's mental wiring, or where you've misunderstood your own. And this retrograde isn't about fixing communication. It's about evolving perception. Pluto in Aquarius is asking what mental structures and thought patterns are outdated. Mercury in Pisces is asking what illusions are ready to dissolve. So that by the time the fog lifts in March, you won't just think differently. You'll begin to perceive reality differently. And that's evolution. So if you're in the observer phase, simply watch what comes up. For the architect phase, work to restructure your mental inputs. And the Alchemist phase is where you're replacing the old narrative entirely. And if this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Are you a linear thinker, or do you think more in images? And I have also created a retrograde reflection guide, and I've linked it in the description. Happy solar return again to my mom, and for everyone else. Until next time, take care of you.